Okay, so we're going to start this meeting of the Greenfield Zoning Board of Appeals, calling it to order at 7:01 p.m. on Thursday, March 10th, 2022. That seems right. Via WebEx. This meeting is being recorded. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson, that would be me, at this time. So anybody else recording this meeting? Okay, everybody knows we're being recorded. Okay, so I guess I'll call the roll, or I'll make judicial notice of the roll. Mark Maloney's here, Jim Nguyen is here, Peter Wozniak is here, David Singer is here, Debbie Jilks is here, Julia Popkin is here. Okay, Walter Boyd will not be here tonight. Okay, first up, 7 p.m. Jim, where'd he go? He left again. Okay. So the first, hold on a second. That's completely wrong. Okay. Yeah, that's wrong. So 7 p.m. is the application of Kevin LaBelle for property located at 338 High Street. Assessor's text, yeah, map 107 lot 3, which is located in the general commercial zoning district for a special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.9 C36, 200-8.3, and 200-8.4 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow the sale of used motor vehicles at this location. So it says for Kevin LaBelle. So is Kevin LaBelle here somewhere?
Yes, yes, sir, I am.
I got two different ones. You got a camera, or do you not have a camera?
I'm on camera, sir.
Well, the thing where you're talking is just your name, but that's all right. We can proceed. So let me explain for everybody the way this works. In a second, well, we already read the notice of hearing. In a second, the board will introduce itself. You'll introduce yourself. You'll tell us what you want to do, where you want to do it, and why you want to do it. From time to time,
If you would, give me a second. I seem to have lost you guys.
Okay. Yeah. Well, modern technology.
Yep, you gotta love it.
Yeah.
All right.
You're all right if I keep talking, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So from time to time, the board will ask questions. Once the board has asked the questions and gotten the answers it needs, we will open up to public comment. When public comment is done, then we will close the public comment of the proceedings. The board may ask more questions. At some point, once the board is satisfied it has the answers it needs, we will close the public hearing, and we have other business tonight too. The odds are great we will make a decision tonight, so you can hang around or you can leave and come back, whatever works for you. Once the board has made a decision, it will be typed up by Eric Torog and signed by the board. Once it's been signed by the board, it will be filed with the town clerk. From the time it is filed with, the city clerk. From the time it is filed with the city clerk, there's a 20-day appeal period in which anybody who feels aggrieved by the actions of the board may appeal to a higher court. If at the end of the 20-day appeal period, there are no appeals or all appeals have been settled, then you can go ahead and do what we say you can do. You understand all that?
I do, sir.
Okay, and I'm sure
Trying to get back to the meeting.
Well, we don't need your face if you know that's a problem, as long as we have your voice.
Okay.
So, having said that, did we get Jim back yet? No, because I have a limited amount of correspondence. Okay, hopefully Jim returns. Okay, then the members of the board sitting are me, Mark Maloney,
Peter Wozniak.
Peter Wozniak. Yep, keep going.
David Singer.
Yep.
Debbie
Debbie.
Jilks.
Yep. And Julia.
Julia Popkin.
Okay. And you are
Kevin LaBelle.
okay. So Mr. LaBelle, go ahead and tell us all about it.
Well, my father owns the property up there, and AMR Ambulance is no longer using the whole building or the whole property.
There you are. I see you now.
You see, I don't see you, but that's okay.
You're probably better off. Yeah.
My business on Montague City Road, Kevin's Auto Body and Sales, has been affected by that General Pierce Bridge being closed. I don't get nowhere near the traffic I used to. So I'm looking to put cars up for sale on High Street and use the front of the building for an office, which is currently open at the second. So I'm seeking permission to sell cars out of there, seeking a license to be able to do it. And that's kind of my story.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it. Okay.
Yes,
All right. Now, I seem to have the wrong package. Hold 1 second here.
take your time.
Yep, I got the right package now. All right. Okay, so a couple quick questions. We've got a. Is this an updated plan?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's fine. So how many cars are you looking to sell?
I'm looking to be able to put 12 up there. I measured it all, and as you can see, the lines are on the plot plan you have in front of you.
Yeah.
And I measured it out. I could put 12 cars up there comfortably and still be able to have 2 for customers, excuse me, and 1 for myself when I'm up there.
Okay. So you're saying you've got 12 parking spots for sale vehicles. You've got 2 parking spaces for customers and 1 for yourself. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. You hours of operation?
It would be 8 to 6 during the week, 9 to 2:30, 3 o'clock on Saturday. I've made the practice not to work on Sundays.
Good for you. Okay. Any alteration to the building?
No, there won't be.
Okay. No addition of extra lights or that kind of thing.
Nope.
Okay. I don't. So at one point, you guys had the place across the street.
My father used to half own the place across the street.
So your father was Winston?
Yeah, that is
Okay.
correct.
All right.
He's since retired. He's 80 years old. His health isn't the best, so he doesn't do much.
All right. Okay. All right. That's all the questions I have. What we'll do is we'll go down the board once, and then we'll read correspondence after that. Okay. So after me, Peter Wozniak, any questions for Mr. Lavelle?
No, I've been to the site and I looked at the explanation of your questions, Mark. I have no further questions.
Okie doke. David Singer?
Yes, thank you. Kevin, I noticed that the planning board wasn't satisfied with the plot plan. I guess that was maybe Eric can help. That was the original plot plan that didn't show any of the spaces. Eric, is this plan that we got recently the result of that comment by the planning board?
That is correct.
Okay. And you believe that now is sufficient for 8.4?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So 12 vehicles is what you want to do, right?
Yes, sir.
I didn't hear you because I was reading something. Did you say what your hours of operation you would like them to be?
I would be 8 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. And I've made that a way of life, not working on Sundays.
I heard that part. That's good. I like that. You're really only interested in selling vehicles, not repairing them?
At this point in time, yes. I'm not sure what AMR's plans are gonna be. If AMR ever moved out of there, I would like to move my business up there.
Okay, so at this point, though, that's good for me to understand that you would like to expand it at some point. But right now, your application is just for the sale of cars?
Correct.
Okay, so that would, that would be the limitation of the request. Okay, I have no more questions. Thank you.
Thank
Right.
you.
Kevin, before I forget, I'm gonna ask, so any signage you would put up would be, in conformance with the sign regulations. You don't need that as part of the special permit.
I don't, at this point, there's no plans to put any sign up there.
Yep, and that's fine.
If I did, I would definitely follow by the board's, rules and regulations, I guess.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you're not asking for one, so we're not gonna give you one, but you're allowed a certain size by
Okay.
right anyway, so. And, the other question I had before I move on to Debbie is, you also have to get a license from the License Commission to sell the used cars, do you?
Yes.
Yes, I believe I do. I have one currently for my current property. So
Right,
I'm sure I would have to get another one for that property.
okay, all right, that's fine. So, next up, Debbie Jokes, please. Any questions for Mr. LaBelle?
Nope, I do not.
Okay. Julia Popkin?
No, I do not have any questions.
Okay, do we have Jim back? We did not, well, we kind
I'm
of have him.
back, Mark. Trying to get on with the computer. Well, I
All right,
have no questions. I visited the site. No problems at
Okay.
this time.
All right, so Jim, you want to read the correspondence into the record, please?
Mark, I can't right now.
Okay, that's all right. Well, I'll read what I have. I do not have the, well, maybe I'll check. Anyways, so from DPW Engineering Superintendent, no comments or issues with proposed project. From the Board of Health, no comments or issues with the proposed project. Eric, am I missing anything correspondence wise?
I do have the fire prevention officer also had no comment or issues.
Yep,
And the engineering superintendent?
yeah, I did him already.
There you go.
Um,
And the
Okay.
planning board? Planning
Yep,
board?
planning board.
Sorry.
somebody have it? More convenient.
Yeah, I have it as well.
All right, whoever has it first, go ahead.
Go ahead, Debbie.
I don't know if I need to read the motion part of it, but their comment was that the board discussed the lack of detail on the submitted site plan and reached a consensus that the submitted site plan does not meet the requirements of section 200-8.4 site plan review of the zoning ordinance. The board reached consensus that in concept, they support a used car dealership at this location. And he did resubmit a site plan.
Right,
But they also voted to approve it.
Positive recommendation.
positive recommendation. They don't approve nothing. Yeah, okay, that's fine. We've made notice that this, resubmitted plan is adequate for us. Okay, so, if nobody else has any questions right now, then we'll open up to public comment. So this is the public comment portion, on the application of Kevin LaBelle for property located at 338 High Street. This is public comment. It's not a Q&A. But, so anybody from the public, you want to make a comment now? We just need to know your name and address, where you live, and, go ahead.
I don't know if there's anyone else.
Well, I need somebody to tell me a name, and then I can address whoever it is.
Great. Hi, I'm Julie Page, 9 Minor Street.
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
I happen to also be in attendance at the previous meeting. And the concerns that were discussed that could not be addressed in the site plan had to do with making sure customers did not block ambulances. Because that is, the ambulance folks the ambulances come and go from one side of the building, and ambulance folks come and go from the other side of the building. And since I, as an EMT, have worked in that building on those ambulances and can say that we do sometimes drive up to the doorway side run in, grab extra equipment and run back out. So in the previous meeting, they talked about making sure just the ambulances weren't blocked. It was also brought up that neither sets of doors for where the ambulance, either the ambulances or ambulance folks come and go, are not blocked because they move through quickly when they need to, safely but quickly. So just if the new site plan accommodated for that, that's the question and comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Public comment? It looks like caller user 4. No?
Mark, can you hear me?
We hear you with echo, Jim.
Okay, it's back up and working. Thank you.
All right, you might want to mute while you're not talking. Any other public comment for the application of Kevin LaBelle for 338 High Street?
Yes, my name's Tim, 20 Clark Street, and I guess briefly you said that it was comment only, no questions. Is that my understanding?
Yep, any comment?
So I can't ask questions. Okay. Well then, just a couple comments of concern. Really is I checked out the site myself, and I overheard saying that there would be comfortably 12 car lots available, 2 customer parking and 1 owner operator parking. With looking at the site myself, I mean that looks like that's pretty ambitious. It doesn't look like there's that much space, but then the lady that it sounds like she works for the ambulance company kind of touched on that. Her concern is the space also. So I think that should be looked into a little bit further more to see if that there's actually room to accommodate what's being presented today before this committee, because I personally don't think that there is. But some other comments that I have would be, with the possibility of if that were to get approved and turn into a car dealership, and obviously the person would want to the owner operator would want to take opportunity to expand like he had suggested. And that property just boards right up against wetlands. Like there's no land buffer. It's right up against wetlands. So I just don't know how, I'd like that to just be addressed as a concern that, especially doing mechanic work, working on things with wetlands being right there. I mean, that could pose a problem for the wetlands that are right there in that vicinity. The other concern comment that I have is just with bringing in things of, business with more vehicles with, I'm kind of concerned with crime, like with, bringing in more traffic with potential, bringing crime to the neighbors around that area. Me personally being a victim in the last 6 months of a break-in, so that kind of makes me feel, it gives me concern of that. Also, it just seems like that it really going to intrude with the ambulance operation there. I just don't see how that's going to benefit the town of Greenfield when we need those assets at our disposal without any influx of being without any issues with that. And so I mean, those are just a couple of concerns of mine. Mainly, mainly, I don't want to bring any more crime into the area, and I definitely don't want to be hindering our ambulance operation there. And with and then finally the wetlands there, and me being an owner on Clark Street, the road's not maintained by the town, and there's already so much traffic that goes up and down that. I mean, I could see potential for test drives to be going up and down. Well, I mean, my street, which is, it doesn't say that it's a private road, but it's not maintained by the town. So it's up to, well, I'm the sole owner of residential on that street, so, and then the 2 other businesses there, but we're us 3 that own and operate on that street are responsible for that road. And so I'd have a, concern with, that road being used, because it's the, right next to that plot of being used for vehicles that are not mine, essentially, because I'm the one that's responsible for that road. So, if some way that could be addressed. I mean, I guess my three comments are, or my comments are just the use of my road that's not maintained by the town. So I feel like that I should have a say in, how much traffic's going to be on it, because it's not a throughway. It's not a town-owned, it's not a maintained town road. Also, if that business ever got expanded on to be working down back where the ambulance is operating out of right now, there is no land buffer. There's no raised land. There's no buffer to the to the wetlands, which that's a very touchy thing. I mean, I've done specialty fencing for half my life, and working with wetlands is it's very important to take seriously. And putting mechanic shop out back, that would pose a concern, and then really bringing more attention of things of value to where crime can come in. Me personally being a victim of a break-in in the last 6 months. So I guess that's what I came here tonight to just comment on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment on 338 High Street? If not, then we'll close.
Just to clarify, I do not work for the ambulance company. I used to, a year or two ago. I do not. This is Julie. I spoke before.
Okay. And you live on Minor Street?
Yeah, I live on Minor Street.
All right, okay, thank you. All right, anybody else who hasn't already spoken? Okay, then we're going to close the public comment portion of this at 7:24. Other questions from the board for Kevin LaBelle? David Singer.
So I guess I need to understand then, if nobody's here from the ambulance group, am I supposed to take that as they consent to this, or I guess I don't quite understand their,
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, they have every opportunity to.
So I assume they were given notice because they're right there, right? So they're not here. I wonder,
I don't
David.
mean to chime in, but I wouldn't assume that the ambulance is 100% and contest that they're okay with everything. I mean, given the time and our economy right now, we're very shorthanded with any profession, and I'm sure that them guys are over there overwhelmed with extraordinary amounts of work. I wouldn't assume anything on the ambulance's behalf. I mean.
All right, thank you.
Tom, thank you.
Sorry.
Jim,
Previous
whatever.
meeting, he was supposed to find out and report on it here.
Mr. Chair. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I guess Dave Chichester, I guess, is here he's a member of the planning board. May I ask him if anybody came to the planning board meeting and commented on it? I'd really like to know if there's been any input on the public record from the ambulance folks.
What I'm going to say is we have the recommendation from the planning board. Every abutter within 300 feet has been notified and had the chance to either submit written comments or come to this meeting and make public comments.
Yeah, but I want information. What's wrong with that?
Okay.
At a certain
Can
point,
I
the
make a comment?
information. No, everybody stop. We're not going to have 5 different people chime in here. This is
Okay,
exactly what we don't do with public comment. So a
I'm
member
not the
of the
public,
board
I'm
is
Kevin.
asking me a question. I'm addressing the member of the board.
Okay.
Okay, so David, everybody has had the equal chance to make comments and address this application. One thing the board needs to remember is this is an application to sell used cars of a limited number at a specific site. It is not an application to expand that use. And the conditions the board puts on, if the board that is inclined to grant this, then they can condition it such that it's only for the sale of X number of used cars as per the written plan. The board can also make a condition that no cars can be parked, obviously per the plan that has been submitted, that would interfere with the operation of the ambulance. The ambulance is a multinational company, and they can speak for themselves. Now, yeah, I will indulge our board member's question to the planning board member if he feels, if he wants to answer that question, that's up to him, but he's under no obligation to. So go ahead.
Can I add one thing, sir?
Oh,
This is Kevin.
no, hold on, Kevin. Why don't we get the answer to Mr. Singer's question first?
Okay, bye.
You ready for my answer?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. There was no one from the ambulance service at any of the proceedings of the planning board.
Okay, thank you.
David?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Eric, please.
I can somewhat address David's question by the following statement. Part of the application process, if you're not the property owner, is to get a letter notarized by the property owner authorizing the person to proceed with the special permit application. The ambulance company is renting from or leasing from this property owner. So that kind of addresses your question a little bit, David.
I'm just looking for information, that's all. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Well, no. Okay, Kevin LaBelle, you wanted to make a comment.
I do. I have a personal relationship with the head people up to that ambulance garage. As I do their plowing, I do their salting, snow removal, etc. The two people in charge I've talked to personally. We've got a friendship thing going on, so it isn't like it's happening behind their back.
Okay, is
I
that
just
it?
want to throw that in there.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Thank you. I wasn't worried about that either.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, this is Peter Wozniak.
Yeah, Peter, go ahead.
I have a question. I see the layout for 12 vehicles. In that layout, Kevin, where are the other vehicles going to park? Is it in those slots there that are laid out for display vehicles, or there some other location?
The cars that are for sale are going to be in the spots that are laid out. There's 2 spots marked customer, where customers can park. There's 1 spot where I can park. The ambulance people will be parking in the rest of the parking lot. And there isn't that many employees up there anymore. As when AMR bought the place, they sent all the office help and the dispatch down to Springfield. So there's plenty of parking.
Kevin, I see the space for the ambulance parking. Where would you designate this parking for the visitors and yourself?
You look at the front of the building.
Yeah.
There's a spot that's got on there. There's a spot with a door.
Yeah.
If you're facing the building from High Street, it would be 2 spots to the left of the door.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, yeah, hold on a second.
Thank you.
Just looking at something. Yeah, okay, yeah, David, go ahead.
Kevin, from my perspective, following up with what Peter asked you, are those enough parking spaces? I mean, do you really think there's only going to be 2 customers at a time there looking at your cars? Or what happens if you have more people? What happens if I drive in and those spaces are filled? What do I do?
At this point, I can't answer that. I think I can tell you that there's a good chance I won't have 12 cars here at once. I just wanted the permission in case I happen to be able to do that. But at this point, I wouldn't put 12 cars there. But as things slow down, and prices come down, I hope to buy some more and put them there. I don't know if that kind of answers your question or not.
Mr. Chair, may I continue?
Yeah, go ahead.
I do have some concerns about people taking advantage and just parking where they wish because they drive in and they don't know anything about the ambulance and they just keep parking over and over. Is your business model set firm on having 12 cars?
I would like permission to do that. To address your concern, I mean, I will be watching all people that come in there. If they park in the way or in a spot that's not mine, I will ask them to move their car. As I don't want no hard feelings with the ambulance company as well.
Well, I appreciate your personal relationship with them, and I certainly trust that relationship. I guess my concern is that our job is to make sure that once we give you the permit, that there's a way for the building inspector to enforce the safety of everybody on that site. So thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
No problem. I would suggest to the board members that a condition could be to reduce the number of units for sale from 12 to 10. Designate the customer parking in striped and designated signed customer parking and also the owner parking. And that could alleviate the issue. It's not that huge of a reduction for Mr. LaBelle. And if he finds he needs more spots and everything works out okay, he can always come back to modify the permit later. So that is a suggestion. It's not an imposition, but it's something to think about. Okay.
I would agree to that.
Okay. Other questions from board members at this point?
I just want, just a quick question. This is just questions. We're gonna come back for discussion later, correct?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, then I'll hold my comments till then.
Okay. All right. Julia?
I don't have
Okay.
anything right now. I don't
Okay.
have anything right now.
Okay, fine. Jim, did we lose Jim again? No, we see him.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, we hear you good now. So,
Had to reload the WebEx back into the computer. It's smarter. I don't have any questions with this. I worked out of that building when it was BHS ambulance for about 3 years. And I believe Winston LaBelle vehicles will be able to fit in there with no problem at all.
okay. All right. Then if there are no other questions from the board, we need to move on. Mr. LaBelle, as I said, we'll most likely get to this tonight. So you can either stay or come back or call Eric tomorrow. Okay.
If I come back, how long should I wait?
A while.
Okay, probably like an hour.
Uh,
I'm not pushing for time. I'm just trying to get an idea. That's all.
yeah. Maybe. We have another project that we need to get onto. So,
Well, would it be okay if I just check back periodically?
sure. Yeah, that's
All
fine.
right.
No problem.
And I'll hopefully get me back where I need to be on this WebEx too.
Okay, yeah, hopefully. All right, very good then. All right, so board members, we're gonna move on to the next.
Thank everybody for their time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. LaBelle, and like I said, check back and we'll be somewhere along the way here.
All right, will do. Thank you again.
Thank you. Okay, so we got that good. Jim,
Yes.
okay, you got the
Can I read it?
hearing somewhere? Hopefully.
Yes.
All right, please do, because I don't.
Okay, application for Buddha Brothers LLC for property located at 220, 228 Main Street, Assessor's Tax Map 51, Lot 60, which is located in the Central Commercial CC Zoning District for a special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.7, C21 and C31, 200-7.17, 200-8.3, and 200-8.4 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow the operation of adult use marijuana retail establishment as well as a marijuana delivery operation facility at this location.
Okay, so who is here for Buddha Brothers or Butter Brothers?
Steve Draculich, 27 James Street, Greenfield. I am the architect for the project.
Is there anybody else besides you?
Yes,
that's correct. John,
one of the only, and John Toro.
And I only got part of those responses. So, John, who?
Forgive me. This is John Toro.
Okay. And who was the other one?
Justin Pagan.
Justin Pagan. Okay. Okay, now, were you guys all here when I explained how this works before? So we don't need to go through
Yes.
that all again? Okay.
Correct.
Okay, so, clerk has read the notice hearing. So the members of the board sitting, well, let me think about this. Who do we have? We got Jim here. All right, whatever. So member of the board is sitting, me, Mark Maloney,
David Singer.
yeah,
Win.
wait your turn. We're going down the seniority list here. Jim Wynn,
Peter
Peter
Wozniak.
Wozniak, David Singer, he's already spoken. Debbie Jilks is somewhere. There you are. And Julia Popkin. And go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys, again, for the record. Steve.
For the record, Steve Draculich, 27 James Street, Greenfield, architect.
Okay. And John Toro, was it?
That's correct. John Toro at 220-228 Main Street, Greenfield, one of the owners for Buddha Brothers.
Okay. And lastly, but not leastly, Justin.
Justin Pagan. Oh, Justin Pagan, one of the owners at 220-228 Main Street, Greenfield.
Okay. So before we go any further, I'm going to read this into the record. We did get a message from the Assistant Chief of Police, William Gordon. Chief Haig asked William Gordon, to write to us and let us know that he reviewed the plans for Dr. Green Thumb 220-228 Main Street and has approved them. The security plans, I'm sure he means. He will write you a formal letter when he returns from vacation next week. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. So essentially, the assistant chief has said the chief has approved the plan. So we'll just get that out of the way now. Okay, so Steve and John and Justin, go ahead and tell us what you want to do, where you want to do it, and why you want to do it.
Okay, I don't know whether you want to let me have access and I can show the drawings, or do you want me just talk about them?
Eric, can that be done easily? Yeah, you're muted.
I'm not sure how to share in WebEx. I haven't done it before.
Okay, all right.
Hold
No,
on.
let me try though. Let me try.
Okay. It might be better if we're all looking at the same thing. I know you have the plans, the
Yeah.
set in front of you.
If we can make it work, it would be good.
Is there, Steve, do you have a button that says share?
I have a
And
button
I
that
tried to do
says
it.
share, but
You click
I'll
on
share
share.
it without hitting it.
all right. Do you see what I
There it
see?
is. Yes, we see it.
There we go.
Okay, cool.
That's
All
fine.
right, so
Yes.
this
ahead.
is the site. Here's the circle, this green rectangle. Here's Main Street, Chapman Street. Here's the railroad tracks down below. Taylor's Tavern is right next to us. Bonnie B's is across the corner. Outlet store. The old, what do I call that? The basement, revealed basement, and then
The hall.
behind that, the hotel, right? The hotel, and then behind that, this is the public parking lot. So the public parking lot down here that we're hoping to use. So this is a dispensary on the corner, Main Street and Chapman, as the former jewelry store and Greenfield Games. It was maybe being developed for a restaurant, and that sort of fell apart. And so the Justin and John have purchased the building, and the intention is to turn it into a dispensary only. So no grow, no processing. So I'm going to, I'm going to move this over here. Here's Main Street, Chapman Street. This is the existing parking in front, including handicapped accessible parking right there. This is all existing. This is all greenfield parking. We're not doing anything with this. There's a couple of tree pits, a bicycle path. Right now on Main Street, there's sort of three entrances. There's an entrance for the old jewelry store, which is this little indent. There's an indent for maybe some in the past there was apartments upstairs. It's a little unclear. And then a deep ramped entrance that went into Greenfield Games. And at the back, along the side here, the Chapman Street site, we just have a sidewalk going all the way back. There's a street light there, one of the new Greenfield street lights. And then back on the corner in the sidewalk is a Eversource transformer vault. And so there's the two vents, and then the vault is in the middle. And behind here is a kind of a shared driveway with Taylor's. They have, I think they have some apartments above or their space, and there's actually an exit across and a fire escape that comes down in that. Otherwise, this is sort of used as a delivery entrance for the restaurant, bar restaurant. So we need to make a secured delivery spot for the dispensary. And we do, the Patriot Care has a secured spot behind them that's a fenced in sally port. And if we could do that, that's what we would do, because it would be the least expensive way to do it. But our building really occupies the entire site. There's maybe about 7 feet of space back here to the property line. So we really couldn't get a parking space in here. So what we're proposing is we're proposing to build an interior garage to house 2 vehicles that would be accessed from Chapman. And because the original plan was we were going to try and put it back in the corner to stay as far away as we can from the corner. But Eversource, my first shot at Eversource was to have them move the vault. They declined to do that. Then my second ask was that if we could drive over it, and they said no. It's a sidewalk vault and not a vehicular vault. So we have to come down to here. We have to come down to the middle of the building. We're about 43, 45 feet away from the corner. We had a meeting with Eric and the mayor and Danny to sort of go over this whole idea of having garage doors here on Chapman Street and a vehicular entrance. And we started talking about right now there's an existing loading zone out in front of the building right now. It's fairly active. You know, I've been there a few times, and I've seen, you know, UPS or Amazon trucks there, or I've seen, you know, deliveries, for bigger vehicle delivery for probably for Taylor's. And but there's other people on the street, and I think that it's just a convenient place for them to use it. So what I am proposing is that we take out that existing loading zone, we get rid of it, and instead we use this as a no parking zone along there. And we actually take 3 parking spaces, public parking spaces that are on the other side of the driveway, and we replicate that loading zone for back there. That gives us the ability to have access to the building. And with I'm going to go to the drawing floor plan. Everybody, So there is existing structure in that building that we're also avoiding. There's some columns and piers along here. And so this is here's the transformer vault you see. And so this is our layout for a 2-car sally port there. So it's not big, and it's going to limit the size of the vehicle that they can use. It's definitely going to be a small vehicle. But that's not really a problem for the amount, and I'll let John or Justin talk about frequency and so forth and material. The idea is we have automatic garage doors here. I have proposed some kind of a sound and light system so that when the vehicle is going to be pulling out, door goes up, the lights go on, some kind of a bell rings or something to let everybody know that there's a vehicle coming out. And that's sort of what we're planning to do for the sally port. We're planning, because we can't have visibility into the dispensary. We're placing the dispensary on the inside of the building. We still have glass around here, and we're going to make that glass. You just won't be able to see in it. But we want to have I want to have a urban facade here along this building that sort of ties the whole thing together. And I'll show you on the elevations. But because we have to get in with a ramped location, we're really, and there's a slight slope down to the corner. So I want to reuse this entrance. There was a lot of discussion at the planning board about the ramp, and I was kind of, at that point, I was kind of thinking about keeping that existing ramp. But it was a better idea not to have that existing ramp for a couple of reasons. One is that that big sort of cave right now collects a lot of debris, and I thought that it wouldn't be a good look for my clients, and it wouldn't be a good look for Main Street to have that tunnel there. So what we're planning to do at this point, I okayed it with John and Justin, and then talked with Eric about it too, is we're going to demolish that entire ramp, and we're going to rebuild it so that the entrance is, the recess will be no deeper than any of the other recesses there. Sliding glass doors that you can't see in. You can just have the light come in. Landing, the ramp coming up, landing at the top. This is where you check in. This is an access control door. So once your bona fides are identified, then you're allowed to go into there. So that's sort of our plan for the entrance. Otherwise, as I mentioned, we're going to have a second means of egress that'll be right next to the garage doors going out onto Chapman. And then we also have the 2 doors that go to the second floor, which we are not touching at this point. The plan is to really do nothing on the second floor. We're going to do no changes. We're not going to occupy it. It's just going to be there. If we plan to do something with that in the future, we'll be back before you. But there's issues with that second floor, and we don't really want to deal with them now. The basement there's a lot of masonry piers in the basement, and there's a somewhat compromised headroom. So the basement is not going to be used for anything except mechanicals.
Mechanicals, yeah.
And so, I mean, right now there's this fully sprinkled building. So there's the sprinkler shut off is down there. All the electrical is there. The water service comes in right where I want to put the cars. So we're going to have to relocate that. So all the services are there. We have gas coming in the front off of Main Street. So that's sort of the plan. So elevation. So here's a kind of a section for what I'm thinking we're going to be doing. So here's Chapman Street off of here. This will be a, you know, like a 7-foot high garage door. I'm thinking that a garage door is going to be secure enough when it's down for the dispensary. I'd rather not see a coiling metal door just because of the look. And then we're just going to be either, you know, supporting the slab either with beams, piers, or we'll actually infill it. So
What is under the proposed slab now? Just basement?
yeah, basement. There's nothing there. So
Okay.
there's just piers. There's an old vault. You want a vault? An old safe. It's very nice. You just have to come get it.
Yeah, well, there you go. So just let me clarify. So
Sure.
the corner space on the first floor, the ground floor, is
Yes.
future commercial.
It's not part of the dispensary.
Right. So that is empty now and remains empty. And okay, so the main entrance to the dispensary would be where the ramp is. But
Right.
you want to change that, but that
Yeah,
will be
I don't want the tunnel anymore. It's not a
Right.
good look for anybody. So
And then the rest of the all activities associated with the dispensary are also on the first floor.
that's correct.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Right.
including the vault and the workroom, staff room, bathrooms. Everything
Right.
is there. We're not
Right,
using
so-
the basement for storage or anything.
Okay, all right. And you're not going to use the second floor for anything either.
No.
Okay, all right.
And there's no entrance. There's no access to the second floor from the first floor.
Okay.
Right now there's a door right here.
Yeah.
But we're gonna, you know, that's the CCC wouldn't want that, and the dispensary people wouldn't want that. The only people that might want that would be if you had an apartment upstairs that say, yeah, I'd like to have access.
Right.
But we're not going to. We're limiting. There's 2 ways out of the second floor. There's a way out here, way out here. So we're not compromising egress.
Okay. All right. So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No problem. Anytime.
Continue on.
So Main Street entrance. This is sort of the look of the jewelry store now. I mean, we're imagining that a similar storefront system will still be there. Probably a new one. This is the doorway going up to the second floor.
Yep.
And then this is the 2 dispensary, the glass that's shown if I can, in the dispensary. So we do have some window-like things here in the dispensary to bring in light, natural light. But we are going to have a the lower panels, which are going to be, you know, like 6'9" high, are going to be translucent glass. So you're not going to be able to see in. This will be sliding glass doors here. That will be translucent glass as well. We're proposing a sign above, sort of centered above the windows. This is, you know, zoning board size sign. And we're going to be illuminating that with an armed fixture, which was on the lighting plan. Other than that, we're going to be building a little bit of an architrave along the front of the building, just to sort of tie the whole building together. This is all that existing sort of whitewashed brick at the top, which is going to remain. And then, where's Chapman Street? Coming around the corner, we mimic for that corner glass, that corner unit gets the same sort of storefront system of glass, a similar window also into that extra commercial space. I wanted to make sure that I got some windows. There's no windows on Chapman Street, and I really wanted to get windows on the side of the building. So we've added windows into that commercial space. You see the two garage doors picking up a little bit of that architrave. Here are my warning lights here and here, emergency lights, cameras. And then we have one more secured window at the back, which is sort of split between the workroom and the staff room. So we are adding a window to the back of the dispensary back here, secured. And the third elevation is the north elevation, which is pretty much going to remain as it is. These are existing windows at the into the second floor. There's a secondary entrance there right now that we're going to take out and just replace with the siding. There's this is the door that goes upstairs. We are going to rebuild this landing for that just because it's falling down. And that's kind of that. Lighting wise, we've got emergency lights everywhere around the perimeter. They're going to be tied in with a time clock and a motion. I've got these lights I had listed on my schedule because I thought they were exterior lights, but those are going to be interior now. They'll be inside the soffits. We'll have some down lights. And then the only other light we really are adding are going to be the lights over the sign, which is this. This is a down light. This is a light that I really like. I've installed this in buildings in West Springfield. This is about the size, a little bit bigger than an iPhone. So these fixtures you really hardly even know they're there. Otherwise, this is just a standard security light, a nicer upscaled one that we're going to be using. And then these are going to be the soffit lights that we have at the sort of the entrances.
So the security lights are essentially wall packs, right?
They're a nice looking wall pack.
Beauty's in the eye of the
beholder. The Gucci of wall packs.
Yeah. Okay. Quick question for you before I forget. The workroom break room with the window that you want to put in on Chapman Street, is there a secure door between the break room and the dispensary?
There between the staff room and the dispensary?
Yeah.
I don't know that it has to be a secured door. It has to be a door that it's a door that is monitored, just like all doors inside the dispensary are monitored. So there's door operators on all of this. Some of them have you have to have the ability to swipe, use a prox card to get in, that like the day vault, like the workroom,
right?
Like the janitor's closet, like the contaminated storage. Others they have what they have an overhead that reads your card. Everybody would be badged so that they have a record, and all of that is tied in with a kind of an elaborate security system.
So the question is, so then if you put that window in on Chapman Street, nobody can smash the window at 3 a.m, get into the building, and then get access to the.
We will probably have some kind of a grill. Right. I know that in this dispensaries that we have been looking at, that they actually have a pull down, night screen, or actually I think is sliding, but.
Yep. That's fine. That was the only reason for that question, really, anyway.
Yep. Okay.
Go ahead. Keep going.
I think I'm done.
Okay. So I would say at this point, if either John or Justin have anything they want to add right now, now's a good time. Otherwise, we'll start with some questions from the board.
This is John. I must admit, Mr. Draculich was
perfect with how he explained the whole project. So if there's any specific questions anyone may have, I'll be more than happy to respond.
Okay. And Justin?
Do you want me to
I concur with.
close down the share?
You know what? No, actually, I don't.
Okay, that's
if
fine.
you don't mind, if
Not at all.
just leave that up, and that way the board members can direct you, if you would be willing to do that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's go to questions from the board. Right now, I don't really have any, so I'm going to go to Jim Nguyen.
I have one question. What's the plans for the future commercial space where the country jewelry was out front?
This is John, if I can answer that.
Go ahead, John, please, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So the future commercial spot most likely is going to be what's called an MDO. So this is going to be somewhat of a wholesale license that's going to be established there. What the CCC or what you can achieve from the CCC is either a retail delivery license, or like I stated, what's called an MDO. It's more of a wholesale license that you're going to be obtaining from the CCC. It doesn't require a lot of space. It's more for white labeling. And so, Mr. Draculich designated a very small area within our building to designate for those types of operations. It's very preliminary. That's why it's a future commercial space. There are some things that we have to do internally to even achieve a license like that. And we're currently in the process of working on it. So like I stated, very preliminary. We're still brainstorming on what we're going to put there.
Okay.
Including coming back to you guys. So there was an attempt to maybe try and get this all done at one special permit, and that just wasn't going to happen. So we just said, you'll have another shot at us.
Right.
That's correct. Thank you, Mr. Draculich.
Thank you. You answered my question.
Jim, you all set?
I am, thank you.
Okay, Peter?
Yes, I have a question about the curb cut. When you make that curb cut from the Sally Port, what happens to the sidewalk from one end of the curb cut to the other? Does it slope down? Does it change the flatness of a person walking down that sidewalk?
Yes, and that was something that DPW picked up, and I made changes to address that. You can see my revision notes already. Remove the existing sidewalk and curb cut driveway. So that has to be a handicapped accessible curb cut for both coming in this way and this way. So it'll come down, with the correct slopes for the aprons and so forth. It'll be across the driveway, and then we're going to have the one going up. So I think I said that, yes, we would make sure that we maintained handicapped access across that.
As I become more old and feeble, if I'm walking down that, if you're more towards the street side, is there a change in elevation from one end of the curb cut? Is it a flat surface? I just look at walking there, if it gets slippery or whatever, for an older person like me going down, is that going to be okay?
I'm not trying to hit any specific elevation in the building, because there is no elevation in the building that we're trying to hit. So I'm going to make that as low as I possibly can, to get us to drive across there. So it'll be pretty minimal.
And I take it you folks are going to do snow removal up and down that sidewalk path or that part of the building?
I would think that would be part of what they have to do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes, the other question I have is that vacant retail space right now has one entrance. If for some reason you need to use it, would there need to be another means of egress out of that space, either to Chapman Street or other parts of the building?
No. It's the space is small enough that and it's a fully sprinkled building. You can have one exit out of a building, as long as it's 75 feet, as long as yes. So it's small enough that it wouldn't require second means.
And I'll ask Mark's question. What are the operating hours
If I can chime in, this is John, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week.
Little ambitious.
Oh, very ambitious.
Well,
That's all the
that's why
questions
we
I
have,
have.
that's why we have conditions. Okay,
Yeah.
but it's good to know what you want. All right, Peter, you're all set, right?
I'm all set, Mark. Thank you.
All right, thank you. David Singer.
Thank you. Hi, Steve.
Hi, David. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
So I went over there today. I guess I'm going to assume that most of the changes on Chapman Street are things that you have discussed. You said you had a meeting with the mayor and her team.
Yep.
Have they approved your suggested changes?
Yes. And
And
I think Eric addressed that question to the planning board in a letter, which I'm sure you have.
yes, I do have the letter. So you'll move the parking, that loading zone will go up. Those spaces will be cleared out on Chapman Street. What about the street lamp? Am I missing where, is that going to be?
The street lamp is okay where it is.
That's what that is?
If for some unforeseen reason we have to move it, we'll move it. We've already agreed to move all the parking meters and redo all the restriping and so forth. So.
And the loading zone, the no parking zone in front.
Yeah, we'll move the sign. I think I said that on the drawings somewhere.
And you'll anticipate that a vehicle will be able to go right next to the curb and then back in rather than be out in the lane.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes. Yeah. We all thought that the best way would be a back in rather than trying to back out. I thought pulling out was forward was safer for everybody. So.
All right. So there was some communication.
There's not a lot, David. There's not a lot of traffic, and that's something that John and Justin ought to talk about. The frequency of the vehicles.
Right, but it's so close to the corner that if somebody were coming around that corner, they'd be blind to what you're doing. So it just takes one.
Right. Just as Eric and I talked. We talked about the idea of striping this as a no, like you see in front of Big Y where it says no parking and so forth. But the feeling was that was just adding complexity. There's already, it's all that existing space is there already. So people are going around that space anyway when they see a vehicle there. If it's a big, tractor trailer that's parked there.
Yeah, there's some distance between the corner and the garage. So somebody turning that corner would see. It's not like it's not immediate.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, I'll let you work that out with the DPW. So there have been some correspondence. Have you seen the correspondence from the health director dated February 16th?
Yes. I addressed it at the planning, and I also talked with her directly.
Okay. Well, since we're the permitting authority, can you repeat your answers to those questions?
So the odor, which is a real issue, it's a real issue. It's not really an issue for dispensaries. It's really an issue for growth, and it really the smell is part of the plant advertising for pollinators. It's part of its natural process, and so it puts out that smell to attract bees and whatever pollinates the marijuana plants. So it's part of the grow process. It's dispenser. We've never run into that in any of the ones that these growers have done. They do not have any kind of odor mitigation in their dispensaries. They have all kinds of odor mitigation in their grow facilities. Plus the fact that in a dispensary, it is all packaged. It's either packaged or it's in jars or so forth. So it's contained. So it's not smelling there anyway.
So is it, I'm sorry.
It's not me.
Oh, it's not him. Whoever is not muted,
Mute them?
they should, no, we can't.
Okay.
They need to be muted, but.
So
what
it's,
do you
Steve,
think,
it's
Todd?
fair to say that your answer is that it's not an issue.
It's for dispensaries, it's not an issue.
Okay, so there's not, all the answers to this, to any of these questions would be not an issue.
Yes.
Because that's what I wrote. And then there was something from the Lynn Kelly for disability access, an email of March 4th. Did you see that?
I did not.
Okay. Well, that'll be read into the record at some point. You might want to hear what.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay. Let's see.
That was the day after our planning board. So planning was on the 3rd, so that came in a day later.
Okay. And then the last thing, there was a recommendation of when the delivery vehicles come out, that there be a condition that they only are able to turn right when they leave. Any problem with that?
Not at all.
All right. So I guess the issue of disability is going to have to be, I don't know how to, I guess, Mr. Chair, I just want to point this out, that here we are making a decision, and it sounds like the applicant may not have incorporated these suggestions into the drawing. So I just want to point that out, that you know better than I how we can address that, but I just put that as a note that it's something for us to talk about. And, you know, if you're going to close down the hearing, we won't be able to talk back to the architect. So anyway, thank you.
Can I make a statement?
You know what? Let me make a statement first.
Okay.
I haven't talked in a long time, and that's unusual. Yeah, any project like this is going to have to be ADA compliant anyways. So the conditions that person raised would be addressed by the ADA and being compliant with it, and that would be enforced by our code enforcement officer. So yeah, I mean, everything David Singer said is correct, and we will. But everybody needs to understand that it's really a non-issue. I mean, you know, this stuff all has to be brought up to code and dealt with anyways. So we will make it a condition if the board's inclined to grant the permit application anyways, like we do for everything else that comes before us. Now, I saw somebody was flashing a hand, and it had all 5 fingers, or most of them. At least it wasn't just one. Okay, so John Toro, is that right?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. You answered my question. Thank you for your comment. It was just I wanted to know exactly what that email entailed, but you answered perfectly.
Yeah, well,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
we're gonna get to all the correspondence in a few minutes, but we want to get through the board members' first round of questions anyways. And
I'm done, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
That's fine. And Dave, just remember, when we close down public comment, it's just public comment. The board gets to ask questions until we're blue in the face. So no worries. If you need to ask Steve something again, we're happy to keep him here until 1 or 2, whatever we need to do.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
No problem. Okay, Debbie Jokes, please.
Sorry, I couldn't find my mouse for a second.
I hear you.
If we go to 1 or 2 o'clock, you're going to lose me because I won't make it that long. We're heading towards my bedtime as it is. The question I have is, what is your time frame for converting the building over and beginning operations? Is this something you're looking to do in 2022?
This is John, if I can chime in.
Sure.
Great question. We're waiting for all approvals. Luckily, thank God, knock on wood, we got approved by the state today. So now we can continue our conversation about how our timeline is, in hopes that we do get granted by the city of Greenfield. Time will tell. As of right now, the goal is to be open in the 4th quarter of 2022.
Okay. Okay. Debbie, anything else?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Oh, there you are. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Mr. Toro, you guys are the official owners of the property now, correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that too. So this is your property no matter what. Okay, so Julia Popkin. Julia, are you there?
I am, and I don't have any questions.
Okay, you sure? No, just kidding. All right. Now I do not have, and I don't know if Jim Wynn has the correspondence.
I
Does
do.
he?
I have quite a bit.
Okay, so Eric.
Eric?
Okay, just want to make sure you're looking. So if Jim gets tired, can you pick up where he left off? Because I don't have any of it.
Sure.
Which is, it is what it is. But anyway, so let's go ahead and read the correspondence.
Okay,
Please.
zoning board of appeals from Eric Torrig, Director of Planning and Development. If the board is inclined to approve the application, then the Department of Planning and Development recommends the following conditions of approval. The applicant shall obtain approval letter on the proposed security system from Police Chief Robert Haig and submit a copy to the Department of Planning and Development within 20 days of approval. Delivery vehicles shall be limited to box trucks or smallers. Tractor trailer trucks shall be prohibited. Zoning district. The above referenced parcel is located within the Central Commercial CC zoning district. Properties to the north, south, east, and west are also zoned CC. Use. The proposed use marijuana retailer is a use allowed by a special permit with a site plan review and approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals within the CC district. The applicant has submitted a complete application to the Cannabis Control Commission, CCC, for a marijuana retail establishment at this location. Host community agreement, community outreach meeting. The City of Greenfield, through the Mayor's Office, has entered into a host community agreement with Dr. Green Thumb Greenfield, LLC, dated April 28, 2021. The project proponents held the required community outreach meeting on June 16, 2021. Required buffer. To determine conformance with Section 200-7-17 of the zoning ordinance and the Board of Health regulations related to marijuana establishment, a distance measurement to the nearest K-12 public-private school was done using the City Geographic Information System, GIS. No K-12 public-private schools are located within 250 or 500 feet of the subject property. Security plan. A security plan has been submitted to Police Chief Robert Haig and has not yet been approved. Site access parking. The primary entrance to the proposed facility is from Main Street. Off-street parking is not required for the CC district. There are 3 existing on-street parking spaces in front of 220, 228 Main Street to include 1 ADA space. The submitted site plan shows 4 parking spaces in front of the building, which includes 2 ADA spaces. The Davis Street municipal parking lot is only 1 block away. There is an existing loading zone along the side of the building on Chapman Street that is proposed to be moved south beyond the building in front of the existing exposed foundation at 13 Chapman Street. The proposed purpose of the relocation of the loading zone is for access to the Sally Port for the facility. A meeting was held with the applicant's architect, Steve Druckler, the mayor's chief of staff, and the mayor, during which the mayor agreed to propose relocation of the existing loading zone. Hours of operation. The applicant has not proposed specific hours of operation. Dimensional requirement setbacks. The proposed marijuana retail facility meets all dimensional and setback requirements of the zoning ordinance. Oops, hang on a second. My little phone just timed out. You heard it 1 second.
You got it back yet?
I got it back.
All right.
Give it a second. I'm going to read it again. Nope, lost it completely, Mark. Sorry. Eric, do you have it on paper?
Yes, I can finish where you left off.
Thank you.
Why don't you go ahead and do that?
Dimensional requirements, setbacks. The proposed marijuana retail facility meets all dimensional and setback requirements of the zoning ordinance. Open space and landscaping. The minimum landscaped open space requirement under current standards of the zoning ordinance for the CC district is 15%. Currently, the site is completely covered with impervious surface with 0 open space. However, since this is a redevelopment project, this standard does not need to be met. The applicant is not proposing any new landscaping. There are 2 existing tree pits along the front of the building. Lighting, an exterior lighting plan has been submitted. There are 2 existing decorative city light poles along the frontage of 220, 228 Main Street that will light the property, as well as 1 existing decorative light along frontage of Chapman Street. Signage. The applicant has not submitted any details on signage for the facility. This one I'm going to strike because he did have the signage on that. That's it for that one, Mr. Chairman.
I don't know. Am I muted or am I not muted?
You're talking. I have more
Yeah.
now. My iPhone came back alive.
All right. So Jim, you want to keep going?
Okay, zoning board of appeals from the planning board. Moved by Ice, seconded by Tomotitis, and voted 5-0 to forward a positive recommendation to the ZBA on the application of Green Thumb Greenfield LLC. And I got to go to another page. This is from
Did the planning board
Commission
not
of
have any?
Disability Access to the planning board concerning the medical marijuana dispensary. The CDA would like to note several concerns. Please advise the business that it'll be necessary to have a lower counter in the service area. Any public restroom will need to meet ADA standard for wheelchair customers. I'm assuming they'll have a security guard at the entrance. If that is not the case, it would be helpful to have an actuator on the door. There's a handicap space in front of the business, but it requires an individual using the space to go out into traffic in order to access the curb cut. I am thinking this is a responsibility for the city to change its configuration. There are safer handicap spots in the municipal lot behind the building. Please do not hesitate to contact me with any questions. Lynn Kelly, CDA. And I think we have one more. Nope, that's all I have.
That's all you have. Eric, was there anything from the DPW on the moving stuff around on Chapman Street?
I have a memo from the DPW.
Would you read it, please?
The Department of Public Works has reviewed the proposed site plan and special permit application for Dr. Green Thumb Greenfield LLC to allow the operation of adult use marijuana establishment at 220, 228 Main Street, and has the following comments. Access from Chapman Street. The applicant is proposing a Sally Port for 2 delivery vehicles off of Chapman Street. This will require an access permit from the Department of Public Works. The applicant will be required to replace the existing concrete sidewalk with a minimum 6-inch thick concrete sidewalk that meets ADA standards where the proposed ingress/egress is located. Currently, there is a truck loading zone on Chapman Street in front of the subject building. The applicant is proposing to move this further south, which will eliminate 3 on-street parking spaces. The DPW does not have an issue with this. All proposed improvements and changes within the street layout shall be the responsibility of the applicant, including relocating existing signs and removing existing parking meters and posts, which shall be salvaged by the Department of Public Works. Required permits, excavation trench permit, $200, access permit, $100, $150 fee.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Is that it for the correspondence as far as we know?
The Board of Health, but I think it was addressed by David.
Yeah, right. Okay. All right, that's fine. Nothing from the Historic Commission, huh? Just kidding. Yeah, it's an old joke. All right. Question. So planning board recommendation was 5-0 positive recommendation. Okay, so let's talk for a minute about, Steve is somewhere, I'm sure.
I'm here.
Right. Let's talk for a minute about eliminating those 3 parking spaces on Chapman Street. I understand the DPW doesn't have any concerns. How about the other businesses that, are moving the loading zone? The other businesses on Chapman Street that rely on the loading zone. Was there any comment? Any reach out to them? Any conversations with them? Anything? We'll go ahead and address that.
No, I didn't reach out to anybody about that. I mean, in some ways, I mean, the only business specific use I saw was stuff going into the back of Taylor's. This new location is actually better for that. Just parks and goes right in. But there is the outlet stores across the street. I can't see that would be, I'm not sure that Bonnie Bees uses that. It was actually something that we talked about at the mayor's meeting. She's sort of the only one of the sort of the businesses there where this loading zone is further away.
What about the Victoria Bar?
Yeah, that one too, right? That's probably about right here. So it would be a little bit, but we didn't approach them.
All right. Well, we'll find out if anybody's here when we get to public comment. All right, so we've read the correspondence. We've had the first go around of board questions. I think it's time. So unless Steve or John or Justin have any other comments to make now, then we'll go to public comment. You guys all set? Okay. So now we're going to open up public comment at 8:28. And again, if you want to make a public comment on the application for 220 Main Street, we just need to know your name and your address, and keep your comments about the application. Okay, is there anybody for public comment? I can't tell if that's somebody talking or if that's like bleeding through somebody's mic. User call-in number 4, do you want to make a public comment? Eric, anything we can do to be on? If you want to make a public comment, you can use the chat if you're not able to vocalize. And yeah, there we go. So anybody for public comment on the application of Buda Brothers? You would have to make it hard. You couldn't just say you guys. For property located 220, 228 Main Street. Anybody? Okay, you know what we'll do? We're going to leave public comment open for the moment. So if somebody wants to write something in the chat, they can. Let's go on to our second round of questions from the board for the applicants. So let's talk, Steve or Justin or John. Let's talk about the signage on the front of the building. You have described the smartphone-sized light fixtures, which is fine. I cannot see the dimensions, and I don't want to unroll the whole thing. Do you have those dimensions?
Yes, 2'6" high by 18 feet wide, which is the square footage in the zoning ordinance.
It's the square footage for general commercial, central commercial. Is it? I thought there was a limitation on signage for marijuana dispensaries. Yes, no, Eric?
The CCC has limits on signage, that's correct.
All right,
Okay.
so where does this stand in relation to those limits? I'm pretty sure it's a little too large.
It could be, but you have to remember that I'm originally from Nevada, so I'm thinking neon and so forth. But
Yeah, well, I guarantee you, if you're originally from Nevada, and it's funny because I got a good friend from Greenfield who has been there for 30 years. So you know what? We're gonna make it simple. We'll make a condition that the signage has to conform with
Exactly. Yeah.
CCC regulations, okay?
Yep.
And that would go with the illumination too, I think. The other thing is, we'll talk about the hours when we get to the board discussion, but there is a lit light lighted signs. I don't know, illuminated signs. We generally have those shut off at a certain time at night. So, but we can discuss that. So I don't actually have any real questions beyond where we're at. I understand what John said about the empty commercial space where the jeweler was. And what I would say is right now it's empty commercial space. Your application for the special permit it is what you have submitted. So you understand that if you are going to do something else with that in relation to this business, you would have to go through another special permit process or seek to amend this permit. So as long as you guys understand it, I'd say let's just leave that alone. Right now it's empty space, and for the foreseeable future, it will be empty space. And that, I think that is the only question I have on that. So let's go down the list again, because it's simpler this way. Jim Wynn, any more questions?
No, the question on the commercial space is answered. I understand that the police chief has approved the plans, and he'll write a formal letter when he gets back on vacation. And I'm all set on everything.
Yeah. Peter Wozniak, any more questions?
No more questions from me.
Okay. David Singer.
Yes, of course I have a question.
Of course.
Steve, I've been sent several plans. One is a huge plan and the other is two plans that were sent by Eric. I have two dated the 8th and one dated 2/11/22. When we go to referring to the plan that you wish to use, which of these plans is the one?
Use the one that Eric sent. So I think I call this the 3/4/22 revision.
3/4/22 revision. And where would I haven't.
That's the one Eric sent.
That's the one you're showing us, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, we can't see that.
Can everybody see this or not see this?
Yeah.
I can see that, Mr. Draculich.
Okay.
What is the drawing date on it?
The revision date, revision 2.
Sorry.
I revise every time I got a comment, I made a revision. Maybe not good, but I wanted to make sure that we addressed issues. So the revision 2 is changing the entrance, the ramped entrance. So that is dated 3/4/22.
Okay. And that's the one you showed us?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure when we talk about it later, we're referring to the appropriate plan. Thank you.
Right.
Yep.
Is that it, David? Okay. So yeah, let's talk for a minute about the ramp. I think I understand it, but so basically you want to get rid of the ramp, make that where the ramp was, make that level with the rest of that floor. And then that would be the main entrance, but it would only be as deep as, how deep is that? The entrance into the former jewelers, what is that, like 3 feet deep?
Yeah, something about that.
Right, so you want to make the new entrance where the ramp was.
The ramp right now starts right at the front of the building and
Right.
just starts going.
But you would bring that entrance out to, again, conform to about the 3 foot depth
Yeah, just so it all matches, ties
Right.
together.
Right. And the windows you're talking about on the face of the buildings, the faces of the building, translucent safety glass,
Yeah.
I assume.
Yeah, it'll be a storefront. Oops. Yeah, I did that. I've done that before.
That's why we have so much fun with this stuff.
It'll be an aluminum storefront system,
Yeah,
insulated glass, and
yeah.
the bottom where sashes all fixed. The
Yeah.
bottom sashes would be translucent.
Right. Okay. What about the top sash?
Top sash will be clear.
Okay. And that height is, you said 6'9"?
Something like that. Let me zoom
Yeah.
in.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that now. Okay. Moving on. Debbie Jokes, any more questions?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay. Well, we're running out of time, so if you
I
think of
haven't
any,
thought, I don't have anything at the moment.
okay.
But,
All right.
you know,
All right.
something else
That's
may
fine.
come up and I may have a question.
No, absolutely. That's the idea. So, Julia Popkin, any questions come to you?
No.
Okay. All right. Cool. Anything else you guys want to add that we haven't asked you, or you want to revise something or whatever? No. Okay, Eric. Anything else we missed on correspondence?
No, we covered it all.
Covered it all. Okay, good. Then it's 8:38, and we'll give public comment. Anybody else want to make a public comment? All we need is a name and an address. Public comment. Going. I'm not sure if calling user 4 is just somebody else's mic. I don't know. Okay.
Well, that could be me, Mark.
Oh, it is you, Peter. All right, good to know. All right, cool. All right, then we're going to close public comment at 8:38 p.m. Okay. Anything else anybody wants to ask? Now is the time. Although you guys are going to stay around until we get to this anyway. We take the discussion and decisions in the order that they appear on the docket. So we're going to go back and deal with the High Street application first. So any other questions for, yeah, John? Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, I would have to be leaving this meeting. I have a flight in about an hour, so I'll be leaving my apartment now to head over to the airport, if you don't mind.
Now what happens if I say I do mind?
Well, I hope Mr. Draculich would be able to be there for me if there's any specific questions.
I'll be on Phil.
No, that's fine. I was going to say, no, I personally, if anybody else has any questions that they might want to ask Mr. Toro, now is the time. No, we all good. So safe flight, safe journey, all that good stuff.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Okay. Then, all right, let's go back to the application of.
Mr. Chairman, I need a 5-minute break.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot you youngsters. Yeah. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
So, Eric, can we stop the recording for 5 minutes?
Yeah, yes, we can.
So let's go ahead and do that. Board members back.
Some are.
I'm enjoying my muffin.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. That's fine. Is Jim? Jim's there. Okay, that's fine. All right. So let's go back to the application for 338 High Street.
Want me to read it?
No, I'll do it. This is the discussion and decision on the application of Kevin LaBelle for property located at 338 High Street, Assessor Tax Map 107, Lot 3, which is located in the general commercial zoning district. Somebody's got to mute. For a special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.9 C36, 200-8.3, and 200-8.4 zoning ordinance in order to allow the sale of used motor vehicles at this location. I'll go first just because it simplifies my life. I don't have an issue with the application, the location. It is what it is. It's allowed with a permit. Literally across the street, they're selling used cars. I think it might be a good idea to think about reducing the numbers, especially since the applicant indicated he was okay with it, from 12 to 10, requiring making a condition that customer parking and owner parking need to be identified by signage and striped. That's the other thing. I think the display vehicle parking should be also striped, the condition. The hours of operation he's looking for, it seemed to be fine. 8 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 3 on Saturday, closed Sunday. He's not asking for any additional lighting or really any additional anything. So in terms of ingress and egress, it's no more or less difficult than any other commercial properties along the zone. So I'm inclined to vote yes for this with the conditions as mentioned. We're just going to go down the line. So Jim Nguyen.
I don't see a problem with it since they moved the dispatch out of Greenfield back to Springfield, talking about minimum number of people going in and out, leaving their cars to go to work for the ambulance. And I think it'll be a good fit for the area.
Okay.
Go along with you.
All right, Peter Wozniak.
Yeah, I'd approve it with the two conditions you mentioned, reducing the number of spaces and putting signage for customer parking.
Okay. And I also think one of the conditions has to be the hours of operation too, so that we don't get any leakage, over beyond what we give. Okay, and there was something that was bugging me about this. Oh, I meant to ask and I didn't, and that's on me. So the cars that are there need to be for sale. So I think it's important that it not be used for storage of cars that are looking to be fixed or are inoperable. So cars there need to be operable for sale. Cars that are going to be parked out front there for sale need to be operable. I think that's a fair thing, and I'm sure that's what Mr. LaBelle intends anyways. Okay, so sorry, David, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's a good location, especially since it's an appropriate location, especially since there's car sales across the street. So that's done. I like your idea. I made a list of conditions to help you out or to help us out.
Yep.
So hours of operation, number of cars, clear parking lines, I thought were good. So that will help with the ambulance. But I think there should be a condition that the business will not interfere with the ambulance use of the premises. I think the ambulance service is important if they are coming and going there. And if we were to get too many complaints.
Well, yeah. So if why can't we just say as part of the condition that the lanes for the ambulance circulation have to be kept open at all times?
Yes.
Right.
I wanted to go broader than that, but.
Well, go ahead. Like how broad?
The business will not interfere with the ambulance service use of the premises.
Yeah, but the business owns the premises.
What business?
LaBelle. The LaBelle family owns the premises. They lease to the ambulance company.
Yeah, but the ambulance company has a lease, so they have an interest in the property, so they have a right to say you can't interfere with my business. They might evict them, but that's not going to happen when we give them the permit. So,
Well, is this something that's enforceable?
sure, it means that the permit is gone.
No, 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 no. To put a condition that they won't interfere with the business.
But if they do, if the ambulance service comes to the building inspector and says that they're interfering with their business, then the special permit is gone. We revoke it, we revoke it.
I have a question, David. Who's going to make the determination what qualifies as interfering with their business? I think that's far too broad. They could come up, I mean, they could say anything is interfering with their business. And I would certainly agree to some restrictions in regard to allowing access, that the ambulances are never blocked in regards to signage or whatever. But I think your comment is far too broad.
Okay, well,
then help me out.
Sorry, I thought my suggestions in regards to that the parking areas are marked, where customer parking is, where the vehicles for sales are going to be, where the owner's parking is, and that there's signage maybe that says ambulance parking only, or do not block, so that the ambulances are. I mean, I would think the main concern is that ambulances are able to get in and out freely. I assume that's what you mean by interfering with their business.
I do. So but there has to be something that they can't interfere with the lanes for sure. So
yeah, I would absolutely agree with that.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So I'll as we go down the list, I'll think of something that would make that clear.
That's fine.
I think it has to be clear that it's for, like you said, Mark, it's for the sale of vehicles only, nothing more than that.
Yeah,
And the cars that there need to be for sale, I think, is a great addition to that. And I think that the permit should run with the business and not with the land.
Yes. No, I think that's fine.
Thank you, everybody, for your input.
Yeah, no, thank you for writing it down. So wait, so David, are you all set for the moment?
I am, thank you.
Okay, Debbie, anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, so one of the things that I went and I was just looking at some historical photos in regards to the parking in that facility, and they've had clearly marked anywhere from 13 to 15 spots in the front of the building and along along High Street as proposed. I'm not sure that his request for 12 is unreasonable, where they've had up to 15 spots, 7 along the front and 8 along High Street. So I think his request for 12 is reasonable. I don't think I don't see any need to reduce that to 10.
Well, I think he was okay with reducing it to 10. I mean, he actually said he was okay with reducing it to 10. The other thing is the number that you were talking about is crowded, and it's crowded for ingress and egress onto High Street. And if we want to do this without bringing in the shadow of interfering with the ambulances being able to get out, which is more important than the getting in.
Based on what I saw, I would disagree that it was crowded at the 13 to 15, but it's just, again, that's just my opinion.
Right. Well, and again, if you take the 10 and add 3, that's 13. Right? And it gives you 2 more spaces for, perhaps.
My apologies. I thought the request was for a total of 12, and we're going to reduce it to 10. So maybe I misunderstood the parking request.
Yeah, it was for 12 used cars. And then he was going to add on 2 more for customer spaces and 1 for the owner space. So at that point, you're up to 15.
Okay. So there'd be a total of 13 spaces, 10 for the car and the extra 3.
Right, and realistically, there would be 2 more spaces. They just wouldn't be, on the books, as it were. If it's a little less crowded and he's okay with it, it's probably not a bad thing. But somebody had their hand up.
I did. I wanted to have the same pleasure with Deb that she had with me. My concern is I don't care that he would have 12 cars. I agree with you there. I guess my concern is that only leaves 3 spaces, 1 for him to park and then 2 for customers. So if other customers start coming in, where are they going to park?
That was more of the question.
I think
which
that's
is
where
what
it
we
went
do.
down to 10, was to give like 4
Right.
parking spaces and 1 for it's not about beating
Right.
them up for selling cars. It's more, where would the other customers go? So
Right.
Yeah, and I misunderstood
It's
when
fine.
I thought we were reducing the total number he had available as opposed to just the
Right.
number of cars for
No,
sale.
no,
Sorry for that.
no, it's all good. We're just jiggering it around a little bit to make it a little more, oh, well, that's interesting. Palatable to, yeah, it's what we do. We try to anticipate issues and make them better. And again, he was okay with it. So if he's okay with it, I'm okay with it. And yeah, and oh, the other thing he didn't ask specifically, and he indicated he was fine with whatever the zoning allows by right there for signage. So I would just say, actually, no, we don't need to comment on it. That's the only thing you can do, short of making it part of the permit anyway. So, all right, Debbie, you're all set, Debbie. You can just nod. Okay, Julia Popkin.
I'm all set.
Okay, all right. So do we all feel we can get a motion ready here? Somebody wanna, Jim, you wanna make a motion?
I'll make a motion for the application of Kevin Lavelle for property located at 338 High Street, Assessor's Tax Map 107, Lot 3, which is located in the General Commercial GC Zone District, for a special permit pursuant to the sections 200-4.9 C36, 200-8.3, and 200-8.4 for the zoning ordinance in order to allow the sale of used motor vehicles at this location with the following conditions.
There we go. Okay, David, do you have the list?
I do.
All right, so can you start, please? And we'll,
Hours of operation, 8 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 3 Saturday, closed on Sunday.
yep,
We didn't quite say this, but I think we should just incorporate the plot plan, right?
yep,
And then in the plot plan, instead of 12 cars, there would be
10.
10 cars being sold, and 5 spaces, 1 for the employer and 4 for the customers.
Right,
Clear parking lines on the ground per the plan. Distinct signage for parking.
yep,
I have, if Debbie can help me with it, will not unreasonably interfere with the ambulance business access within the property.
That's right. I think that looks good.
Okay.
Because that's really the main concern, is just making sure they're free to come in and out with no delay.
Okay. Quote, sale of vehicles only, quote, sale, end of quote, of vehicles only. Cars on site need to be for sale, except for customer and,
yeah, can we say, what if we said sale of 10 operable vehicles?
Yes.
The vehicles need to be operable.
Okay.
The reason I harp on this is we've seen this in other places where we give them a permit and the next thing they're doing is, swapping engines in the street. And that
No, I
was,
think it's a great, I didn't even think, I mean, that's good experience. So
yeah.
that, and Peter,
I'm not saying that is what he would do, but let's just help him to.
right. And Peter confirmed, I heard him confirm that. So that's all right.
Yeah.
And then runs with the business, not the land. Runs with the applicant, not the land.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I think that's all I had, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything else that we missed? Feeling pretty good? Okay, so who's the second?
Peter, I'll second it.
Peter, you're the second. Okay, so motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, then let's go to a vote. So Maloney votes yes. Wynn?
Yes.
Jim Wynn's a yes. Peter Wozniak,
Yes.
yes is also a yes. David Singer,
Yes.
okay, thank you. And Debbie Jilks.
Yes.
And Julia, what's your opinion?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. All right. Good. We only needed 5, so motion is declared unanimous. So Eric, you'll let Mr. Lavelle know and all that good stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, it looks like he's on the call.
Oh, is he? I don't know why. I just have a limited number of these boxes here, so I'm not seeing as
I'm
much.
here.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Lavelle, you talk to Eric probably Monday.
Yep.
And he'll guide you through the rest of it. But there you go. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you, everybody. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye. Okay. So, all right, moving on to Brothers. Okay, this is the, do we feel that we can make a decision tonight, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, this is the discussion and decision on the application of Buddha Brothers LLC for property located 220-228 Main Street, Assessor's Tax Map 51, Lot 60, which is located in the Central Commercial Zoning District for a special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.7, C21 and C31, 200-7.17, 200-8.3, and 200-8.4 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow the operation of an adult use marijuana retail establishment. So Eric, I got an issue.
Go ahead.
Their permit application is really for the retail establishment. And Mr. Toro was talking earlier about the MDO as something in the future.
Yes.
So then that's not part of this permit, is it?
No. That's the MDO is a marijuana delivery operator, not part of this application.
Okay, so I'm stopping where I just read to.
But you have to say at this location.
Yes, at this location, right. Thank you. Yes. Okay. So, there we go. All right. Okay. So the application is complete. We have a roundabout approved security plan, kind of, from Disney World, I guess, which, we will assume that that is all that. Not sure why it couldn't get to us before today, but whatever. All right, so that was brought up by the planning board is one of their issues, I think. And other than that, planning board seemed to, the issues we all covered, basically. So, I guess it's creative, the Sally Port idea. I think it'll work, and we'll find out. But DPW doesn't have an issue with it. Mayor's office doesn't have an issue with it. Losing 3 parking spaces on Chapman Street is kind of interesting. But again, given that these folks own the property, I think they're allowed to ask to make adjustments within reason. And I would put this in that category. Lighting plan is fine by me. The security details, well, that we know are fine. I'm assuming security monitoring is off-site, correct? I'm not sure if Steven.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's
It is
fine.
off-site.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all we need to know. And I think Eric can back me up on this, but it looks like all the CCC requirements for the windows on Main Street and on Chapman Street, the visible windows, the facing windows are conforming. I think it makes a lot of sense. The ramp is historic, and I'm actually kind of surprised nobody has sent us a letter about that. But I think it makes a lot more sense, the proposed renovation of the ramp. I think that's fine. What the architect has shown us certainly looks consistent with the eclectic feel of Main Street. The hours of operation, I'm not crazy about. 8 to 10, 7 days a week seems a lot. I would feel better if it was 9 to 9. Yeah, I just don't think it should be open when, well, anyways, that's me. That's my thing. But other than that, I think they've covered the bases, and especially the fact that the second floor will be unused. Simplifies life. And we did talk, refresh my memory, but Eric, we talked about the odor mitigation or whatever.
Correct.
And I know we've done a lot of these now, so we actually have a lot of experience, and we've done good jobs on all of them. So I think the last one that we actually did is the one on Arch Street. And we went over that pretty thoroughly. So I'm feeling okay about this. In terms of the ADA access and compliance, it has to conform, so it's a non-issue. The parking again is compliant. So I don't really feel like there's a lot of conditions we need to add or could add. But again, that's just my take on things. So I'll leave it there and we'll move on down the line. So Jim Nguyen?
Question, they're originally looking for hours of operation from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week.
Right.
Patriot Care at the American Legion, we gave them 10 to 8 Monday through Saturday and 11 to 6 on Sunday. I'm not sure what we did with the one on Bank Row. I did not write that down. Maybe Eric could tell me.
Unfortunately, I don't have that in front of me either.
Right. Right. Of course, Patriot Care was the first one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was comfortable with what we gave Patriot Care, but I think 8 to 10 is a lot, 7 days a week.
I do too. Yeah.
So I guess so we can talk about that as we go along here. We can think about that. The other thing is, Eric, in the CC, isn't there a lights out thing after 11?
It's for the entire city, basically, lights out after 11.
Yeah. All right. So I would just want to reiterate that as a condition. Whatever. I don't think any of these folks would have an issue with that. No matter what the hours are, but the lights are out after 11, except for security lights, of course. Okay.
Mark, I actually found the hours of operation for the Bank Row.
Well, thank you.
Yep. It was hours of operation were 9 to 10, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 8 on Sunday. And I remember we actually had a bit of discussion about that because they were longer than the Patriot Care hours.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I still wasn't crazy about the Sunday hours, but so anyways, yeah, what was 9 to what on Monday through Friday?
9 to 10.
9 to 10.
9 to 10, yeah.
Shift
I
up
would
through
feel
Saturday.
I would feel better at least with the 9 opening hours. So we can, but again, thanks, Deb. Keep that handy. And Jim, I'm sorry, I bit into your time, didn't I?
No, you're good. You're good. I was just concerned about the hours, especially on Sunday.
All right, so go ahead. You're up. Anything
I
else?
would recommend that we change the hours on Sunday to basically 11 to 6 to fit in with the other Main Street operations. And the daytime operation, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 10 would be more realistic.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, the 10 is fine from their perspective. And the 9 is fine from my perspective or our whatever. Anyways, it's something to think about. We don't have to decide yet, but anything else, Jim, besides
That's it.
that?
Thank you.
That's it. Okay. Peter Wozniak?
I need to go back to the curb cut for the Sally doors. I'm looking at the elevation, on that side, and I look at the coming down out of the Sally port. You're sloping down from the door opening, and I look adjacent to that. It appears when you look at the door to the left, there's a step down. Is that sidewalk as you go to the sloping down? Does that go up and then it comes back down on the other side of that garage door opening? A question for the architect.
Yeah, Stephen.
Yes, I did see that. It's certainly going to have to be worked out in the design. So I might have to move that door down a little bit to make that work. But I did notice that when I was doing it. We're going to, I've got to I can't have the door can't be up off the ground as well. So it's got to be contained. I mean, it's got to be down at the same level.
Yes, for pedestrian traffic there, that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So Peter, you could make a condition to address that.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the only question I had.
Okay. All right. That's fine. David Singer.
I'm making a list.
Checking it.
I'd like to hear Peter's conditions so I could add it to the list.
Well, I think the design has to have the exit from the Sally port at the same level as the sidewalk coming out of that space.
And then it goes down at the curb.
Yes, it goes down at the curb onto the street.
Right. Right. Now, I think that makes sense. I think it's doable.
That's actually how I imagined it myself. But
right. So Stephen, that's doable, right? Steve,
yes.
Sorry, whatever. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's a good condition, I think. Good catch, Peter.
Good job, Peter. All right. So my list is ADA compliant, right turn exit.
Ah, good. Yeah.
Hours of operation, were 9 to 10 Monday through Saturday, 11 to 6 on Sunday. Incorporate Alan's memo. Incorporate
yes.
Steve's plan, the second edition, 3/4/22.
Yes. Yes.
With Peter's condition.
Mm-hmm.
The Board of Health, it seems like there's no issue. Incorporate Eric's memo. The lighting would be per the plan that we referred to, and then lights out after 11, no matter what.
Correct.
All license approvals from state and city.
Yes.
Sign conform with local and CCC regulations.
Right.
That's my list.
Okay.
Everything.
Is there anything, David, you can think of that we haven't touched on?
No, because this is one where the other ones, the city kind of lets the lot stuff go and then we have to kind of figure out what to do. This one, I feel like the city is pretty much everybody's given us their conditions and we've been mindful, like with Peter's comments and your comments, we've been mindful. So no, there's nothing that I can think of, but thank you. No.
Okay, no problem.
Can I just jump in one more time?
Sure.
I'm looking at those warning lights that are near the Sally port door. I'm suggesting to the architect to make those vandal resistant or very sturdy devices because they're at an elevation that someone could have fun with those.
What kind of fun?
Yeah, that would be fine. I wanted them down at that location for handicapped accessibility, so they're down so that everybody can see them. But I'll make sure we get something good.
I'm sure they need to be there. I just look at sometimes people walking down the sidewalk would have some fun with that.
You know, the other thing, actually, good point to bring that up. The other thing about the lights is you have to make sure that they're flashing at the correct rate, that they don't trigger any
Oh, yeah.
seizures things.
Migraine headaches.
Yeah. So that is actually an issue, and sometimes that gets lost in the mix. So
Is that a condition?
yeah,
Do we need to, would I need to submit a cut sheet once I figure out what that thing is going to look like
I
for
think so.
approval? Yeah, that's fine.
We can probably do it administratively, but yeah, I think just to cover our bases, keep everybody honest. Yeah, why not?
You could make that a condition.
Yeah. So David, what he just said is a condition.
So he's gonna, is this about lighting or is about, it's about lighting? It's conditioned upon the submission of a lighting plan acceptable to to Eric and the chair of the zoning board?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the warning lights.
Yeah.
Just the warning lights?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everything else is fine. The wall packs are fine. I think that seems reasonable. Okay. Peter, you all set?
Yes, I am.
All right, Deb, have we gotten to you yet?
Not yet. Dave, were you all set?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, at this point, we've covered everything I had, so we're good.
Okay, that's fine. Julia, you're last, but you're not least. So anything you have?
No, I'm all set.
Okay. All right. Jim, did you already make a motion?
I made no, I can't, no.
All right, why don't you
Do
go
it right
right
now? I make a motion for the application of Buddha Brothers LLC for property located at 220, 228 Main Street, Assessor's Tax Map 51, Lot 60, which is located in the Central Commercial CC Zoning District for a special permit pursuant to sections 200-4.7, C21 and C31, 200-7.17, 200-8.3, and 200-8.4 of the zoning ordinance in order to allow for the operation of an adult use marijuana retail establishment at this location with the following conditions.
Okay. David, would you be good enough to read them?
Sure.
Recap.
Sure, the ADA compliant. The vehicles delivering product upon exiting the building can only make a right turn exit.
No.
The hours of operation are 9 to 10 Monday through Saturday, 11 to 6 on Sunday. The applicant will conform with the conditions outlined in Alan Turog's memo of 22422. The applicant will comply with those matters that are shown on their plan. Second, what do you call it, Stephen? The second
Iteration.
Second iteration dated 3/4/22. The applicant will conform and comply with Eric Turog's memo of 2/17/22. The lighting will be per the plan mentioned above. The lights will be, except for is the warning lights down all night, or they're also go out? Steve, you have to tell me.
The warning lights only go on when the garage door goes up.
I see.
Right. Right.
So all lights out after 11 p.m. The warning lights have not been approved at this point, but they will be approved per a plan submitted to the chair and the planning director, who will approve them administratively. The sign will conform with local and CCC regulations. And the Sally Port entrance sidewalk will be at the same level as the sidewalk surrounding it.
And be pedestrian safe.
And be pedestrian safe.
Right.
Whatever that means.
That's fair.
You the chair. I think I've got them all.
Okay. Is there anything else? Did we miss anything anybody can think of? Okay. So, somebody want to second this?
I'm
We-
sorry, did we talk about the hours of operation? Did I miss that?
We did, yes.
Okay, I'm
Well,
sorry.
Why don't I repeat it so you're clear? 9 to 10, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 6 on Sunday.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we good? Who's making a second?
Second,
David seconds. Any further discussion on this, on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call roll call vote. Let's see. So Jim Nguyen,
Yes.
David, no, sorry, Peter Wozniak,
Yes.
David Singer,
yes.
Debbie Jokes,
Yes.
Julia Popkin.
Yes.
Okay. 5 voted yes, motion is declared unanimous. So Stephen and who's still with us? Justin, maybe. Anyways, you guys know the deal. You'll talk to Eric on Monday and go from there. But, you know, hopefully everything will go fine for you all. And, I want to say the board always appreciates a well-crafted application. It makes everybody's job a lot easier. And so you know, when we get one, I want to recognize it. So anyways, good
Yes,
job.
it was an excellent presentation.
Yes. Yes.
And onward we
That's all.
go.
That's all. Steve. Steve gets the credit for that one.
Okay. Well, that's good. You know, so
Thank you.
onward we go. So anyways, there we go. So that's it for that. So good luck and hopefully we won't have to see you back anytime soon.
Well done.
Thank you,
Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman
Thank you,
and
everyone.
board members. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
All
you,
right.
everyone. I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes from January 13th, 2022?
So moved.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
All right, Peter seconded. I think David got in there first. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, we got to vote. Tony says yes. Win.
I'm all set.
Peter Wozniak,
Yes.
yes. David Singer,
Yes.
Debbie Jokes,
Yes.
and Julia Popkin.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, minutes are done. There is no correspondence that we care to indulge in. At this point, there is nothing in the hopper for April. We will let you know if something comes available. So it was actually good that we were able to do the Main Street thing tonight. I'm sure you're hearing all kinds of rumors about all kinds of things on Country Club Road.
What's that?
Let's just take a deep breath. There's a proposal in the works for a outdoor grow facility, but I mean,
Oh,
it's being talked about, but there is no actual application yet. So everybody just, you know, we'll deal with it when and if it actually comes to fruition.
I have a question.
Yep.
So we're not going to meet in April, it sounds like, but so the governor's allowed us to do this until July.
He's actually allowed us to do this till July 2023.
Oh.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
He passed a thing, he did a, what do you call it, executive order, which basically allows the individual entities to decide if they want to do it till 2023.
I see. All right. Well, I'm for doing that.
Yeah, I'm for doing it. I love it. This is greater than sliced bread.
Well,
So,
and
okay,
again,
I just wanted to make sure that if it was for the summer that we began to think about what we're doing, but okay, I'll let it
right.
go.
Well, and
I'm just gonna say, for somebody who's in front of a computer for 10 hours a day before she joins us, that I actually would prefer to have in-person meetings, so I'm not looking at a screen for additional 3 to 4 hours at the end of these days.
I understand.
Just something
But
to consider.
Fair enough.
Generally,
That's why I brought it up.
We try to keep it less than 3 or 4 hours, but yeah. And again, if I'm wrong, we'll let you know. But you know, I prefer that whatever we do, we do it for a while. The thing I have not been able to stand for the last 2 years is in, out, you know, are we or are we not or whatever. So anyways, yes, this does make it simpler for a lot of folks. But anyway, so there we'll go. So as of this moment, we don't have anything for April, but we of course leave it on there until we're sure. And we still have another week for applications to show up. So, oh, the other thing I was going to say is we'll try to get these, Eric will get these typed up ASAP, and we'll have them available for signing as early in the week as we can. And that way we can get that over to the clerk's office and go on. So everybody continue to stay safe.